It was just another regular morning at NASA's Mission Control, until a red alert lit up the main screen. EarthNet's primary communication satellite had gone dark. Its power system had completely failed. The global network was slowly collapsing. Without this satellite, vital communication systems, military, aviation, even emergency services would be disrupted worldwide. A distress beacon was still sending weak pulses from orbit. It was clear this wasn't just a malfunction. The satellite needed urgent repair. Within minutes, a high-priority mission was activated. A team of astronauts was called in. They had 72 hours to fix the satellite, or risk a total communication blackout across the planet. The crew selected for the emergency mission was small, but elite. Commander Ayla, a veteran pilot with nerves of steel. Dr. Leo, a brilliant systems engineer who had helped design the satellite itself. And Sergeant Mika, an EVA specialist known for her precision in zero gravity. They had no time to waste. For 48 hours straight, they trained, simulated the repair, and reviewed every inch of the satellite's schematics. There was no room for error. Each astronaut carried a different responsibility. Ayla would handle navigation and docking. Leo would lead the technical repairs. Mika would operate outside the capsule, managing tools and stability. The countdown had begun, not just to launch, but to save Earth's connection to itself. At dawn, the Orion X-7 launch vehicle stood tall on the pad, its engines humming with anticipation. The world watched as Commander Ayla, Dr. Leo, and Sergeant Mika boarded the capsule. The countdown echoed through the speakers. 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. The rocket pierced the atmosphere, leaving a trail of fire behind. Inside the capsule, the crew felt the crushing force of gravity pulling them down, then suddenly weightlessness. 7 hours later, they reached geostationary orbit, right where the satellite drifted silently, hundreds of miles above Earth. There it was, a dark, lifeless machine floating alone in the void. Now, the real mission was about to begin. As the crew approached the satellite, Ayla activated the auto-docking system. But something was wrong. The system blinked red. The satellite's guidance signal was offline. Automatic docking was impossible. They had to switch to manual control. Ayla grabbed the joystick, guiding the capsule inch by inch through the vacuum of space. One mistake could mean a collision. Inside the capsule, Leo monitored distance readings while Mika prepared the EVA gear. The tension was unbearable. After a long, silent maneuver, a soft click echoed through the cabin. Docking was successful, but it was only the beginning. Outside the window, the satellite looked more damaged than they expected. When Mika stepped out of the capsule and floated toward the satellite, her helmet light revealed something shocking. One of the solar panels had been torn open as it struck by space debris. This wasn't just a system failure. It was a collision. Cables were loose. The main panel was cracked. The satellite's frame wobbled slightly with every small touch. Leo's repair plan would have to change fast. They couldn't fix the satellite the way they had trained. They would have to improvise, using whatever tools they had. And every move outside the capsule now carried a bitter risk. Time and oxygen were running out. As Dr. Leo worked to reconnect the satellite's internal circuits, an alarm suddenly blared from inside the capsule. Commander Ayla rushed back in. Something was wrong with their orbit stabilization system. Without immediate correction, the capsule could drift away from the satellite, or worse, spin uncontrollably. Ayla strapped in and began overriding the system manually, entering commands, while the capsule trembled slightly. Outside, Leo and Mika could feel the shift in pressure. For 5 terrifying minutes, communications were patchy. The crew was split between 2 emergencies, one inside, one outside. But finally, the red light turned green. The capsule was stable again. They had avoided disaster, but stress and oxygen levels were starting to push the limits. While adjusting a damaged antenna panel, Mika lost her grip on the satellite. One faulty clamp, one slip, and she was drifting into open space. "Tether's gone," she shouted. Leo shouted for Ayla. Without hesitation, Ayla launched herself out of the capsule with the EVA jetpack, eyes locked on Mika's fading figure. Mika spun slowly, her breathing fast and shallow. Her safety line had snapped. She was untethered in the vacuum. Ayla fired short bursts from the jetpack, closing the gap. One wrong move, and both of them could be lost. In the final seconds, Ayla reached out and caught Mika's hand. The mission had nearly turned into a rescue operation, but they weren't giving up yet. Back on the satellite, Leo finally managed to replace the damaged power unit. The circuits lit up. A soft hum returned to the satellite's core. Signal restored. EarthNet was back online. Around the world, systems flickered to life. They had done it. But then, Leo checked the capsule's dashboard. Fuel levels were critically low. The earlier manual maneuvers and stabilization efforts had drained more propellant than expected. They couldn't initiate re-entry. Not yet. They had fixed the satellite, but now they were stuck in orbit with limited power, oxygen, and no way to get home. It was a victory, laced with uncertainty. Mission Control quickly devised a backup plan. An unmanned rescue module was launched from Earth program to reach the crew in 16 hours. All the astronauts could do now was wait. Inside the capsule, silence filled the cabin. Mika stared out at the Earth, slowly rotating below. Leo reviewed system logs again and again. Ayla sat still, eyes closed, conserving energy. They were heroes in orbit, but also fragile humans suspended between Earth and the stars. Mika whispered, "This is the quietest place in the universe." Every hour felt longer. Every beep, every flicker of light inside the capsule reminded them they weren't home yet. 16 hours later, a flash of light appeared over the horizon. The rescue module had arrived. With careful docking, the crew transferred systems and secured themselves for descent. One last look at the satellite they had saved and they began their journey home. Re-entry was rough. Flames licked the edges of the capsule as it tore through the atmosphere. But then, parachutes deploy. A splashdown in the Pacific. Safe, the world watched as Ayla, Leo, and Mika emerged tired, changed, but victorious. The mission was later named Silent Orbit Operation, a story of courage, precision, and survival. And there are more stories like this, waiting among the stars. Subscribe now to Space Habitation for more cinematic space adventures.